Welcome to the Guide to Digital Episode 3, Data Structures. So there's two main data structures that we're going to be using in the guide. There are more in Python, but these two are used all the time and actually can meet a lot of the use cases that come up in everyday programming. The first is a list. And a list is basically a series of data elements, a series of data points. So you can have a list of strings, a list of integers, a list of different kinds of data, but it's all in a sequence. The other is a dictionary, and a dictionary is a thing called a key value store. What that means is there's a bunch of different kinds of data, but it's all sorted by key. An example of this might be last name and age, or name and age. So if I had a dictionary of names with people's ages, if I put my own name in, Chris Allison, I would get back my age, which is none of your business. So those are the two things we're going to be looking at. So let's dive into exactly what those mean. So a list is defined like this. So you basically have the same element. So we're creating a variable, just instead of that variable being a single object or data element, the variable is a list. So it encompasses all of the elements of that list. So new list equals 1. So you're going to see a hard bracket, a straight bracket, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a closing hard bracket. And those hard brackets are what denotes that this is a list. And that's some of the light syntax that Python uses. Now, if you want to access anything from a list, you will just mention the variable, you'll use hard brackets again, and you'll put a number. It needs to be an integer, fractions won't work, and that number is going to reference the order of the item that you want out of it. So I'll show you how that works right now. So here, we're going to go and we're going to create a list. So we have team, that's our object, equals, we're assigning something, and then we have our list. So straight bracket, Tom, in double quotes, which is a string, Mandy, Anna, Kent, and Ashley. So we're going to run this cell by hitting Shift and Enter. And then we say when we want to access the values in our list, we will put team, which is our variable, hard bracket, and X is going to be the number referring to the placement. Now, one of the things that Python and a lot of programming languages do is they will start indexing a list at 0. That is, the first item is not 1, it is 0. So you basically have to offset everything by 1. And you'll see that in our examples here. So if we say team, hard bracket 1, again, normally you would expect this would come back with the first item in the list, but because Python starts indexing at 0, it's going to come back with the second. So we're going to run this cell, team, the first index 1 in team is Mandy, the second person in our list. So that's exactly what we expected would happen. So then if we say team 4, which item are we going to get? We got Ashley, the 5th item in our list, 5th element in our list, and we got that output. So now what I'd like you to do is you're going to use the same format, team, hard bracket, an index number, and then a closing hard bracket, and I want you to access Ashley. Or no, sorry, not Ashley. I want you to access Anna, the 3rd item in the list. So how would you do this? And I want you to do it there. You can just pause it, play around a little bit, and then when you're ready, restart the video, and we're going to keep going. You can also add or remove elements from a list, and you can do this pretty easily. So there's a function called append. So basically, if you have team, which is our list, dot append, and then you can add Carl, for example, as a name. We'll run that cell, and you'll see that the list is now bigger. There's now a 6th element, which is Carl. Now here, and then again, we're adding team here so that we get the output, so that we can see the impact of what we're doing. So if you have created a cell and if up above, say you did dot append something else and you didn't write team, then you won't see that until the next time you write or use team, but it will be there. You can also remove elements by using del. So the format is a little bit different, but del team 5. So team 5 was probably the one we were looking at here. We get team back again, and Carl is now gone. So again, del team hard bracket 5, the index of 5, meant we were referring to the 6th element in the list, which was Carl, who we had just added. So Carl is now gone. So that's lists. We're going to be using them again. But again, if there's anything you don't understand here, come back, have a look. Also, just look in your own Jupyter notebook. So there is a bunch of help text and a lot of explanation in there. So if you did miss something, please take your time. So now we're going to look at dictionaries. And dictionaries are created similarly to any other variable, but also similarly to lists. So we'll say new dict, or new dictionary, and I just click that, equals, so this is again our object, is a new dictionary. It is a variable. We are assigning it using the equal sign, and a dictionary is created using the kind of squirrely brackets. I'm not sure what the actual name for those are, but they're basically curly brackets, I suppose. Except this time we have a string, and you can use strings or integers as keys. Remember I talked about the key and the value. So here we're using strings as the keys, and I gotta stop double clicking on those. So key 1 is 1. So basically what I'm saying is, in the dictionary, key 1 has the value of 1. Key 2 has a value of 2. Key 3 has a value of 3. And that's our dictionary. So to get back items out of a dictionary, and we're going to show it here, you will enter the object, so the dictionary variable, so new dict, and in the hard brackets, instead of a number as an index, you're going to enter the key that you want the value for. So in other words, if I want the value for key 1, I will put new dict, hard bracket, in quotes, because it needs to be a string. It needs to be the same as what we had when we created the dictionary. Key 1, end hard bracket, and that's going to return a 1. So here, because we're building a leave system, we're going to do something a little bit more complicated, and we're going to create a dictionary, leave credits, which is a dictionary of our employees and the number of leave credits they have. So we'll say these are hours. Could be days, could be anything else. But for our purpose, we'll use hours. So leave credits equals, and we have the curly brackets, and we have the first names of our employees. Tom, Mandy, Anna, Kent, and Ashley as our keys. On the other side of the colon, we have an integer, and that integer reflects the number of leave credits that employee has. So our key is Tom, our value is 80. That's how we're structuring this dictionary. So we're going to hit Shift, and we're going to run the cell again. So in 18, we didn't ask for any output, but that is now a variable, which is a dictionary called leave credits. So now that we have our variable, now that we have our dictionary, we can get the leave credits of our employees by accessing that key in the dictionary. So here we're using leave credits, hard brackets, and Tom. So Shift, enter to run. So when we access that, we get the value 80. So again, this is a really, really simple way of using a dictionary, but it actually enables really powerful things. The ability to say, I want, again, all the leave credits for an employee, and you can access that by a single username or a unique identifier for the employee. This is how pretty much all of our systems that deal with things like this work. So you can also do neat things with the values that you get back from dictionaries. So if I want to, for example, see how many leave credits Mandy and Tom have together, I don't need to do weird things. I can just say, well, I'd like leave credits, the dictionary. I want the value for Mandy. Mandy is the key, and the leave credits for Tom. And I get the total of Tom's leave credits of 80 and Mandy's leave credits of 200, just by kind of referring to the keys in the dictionary, and those return the values there. So now it's your turn, and I'd like you to access the number of leave credits for Ashley. So Ashley has 5. Use the same format as we have in line 18 here, or input 18. Leave credits, hard bracket, and then you'll put the key for Ashley in that bracket. You'll hit Shift Enter, and you should get the results of 5. So give that a shot. Feel free to pause the video, and again, go back. If you have any questions, just let me know. But otherwise, we're going to keep rolling here. So we've just learned about variables. We've covered and created 2 new data structures in Python. You've accessed them. You've found out how to use them. And if you want to play around with this at all, you can. So we've got 2 empty code cells here. Enter anything you want. And one of the big things about programming, and one of the big things about using something like Jupyter Notebooks, is you're not going to break anything. There's nothing you can do in any of these cells that's actually going to hurt you or, kind of take anything away. So feel free to play. Create a new variable, create a new list, create a list with not numbers, but names, or create a list with floats or booleans, true or false. Create a new dictionary of a different kind. You can do anything. You might get an error. If you do, you can just go back and fix it. And that's how programming and exploration in code works. So we're going to do one last thing. So we can add data to a dictionary very, very easily. So again, we had Carl in our employee list. We took him out. We're going to put Carl back in because he actually seems like a pretty good person. So we're going to use the dictionary, leave credits. We're going to create a new key because remember, Carl is not in our dictionary, and we're going to assign it a value. So we're creating a new key. We're giving it a value, which is everything that the dictionary needs to function. And then we want to see what our dictionary looks like. So Shift Enter again to run the cell. We now have Carl in the dictionary with 128 leave credits. And then we decide Carl isn't actually as nice, so we're going to get rid of Carl again. So here, del, so the same way you would remove something in a list, you can do in a dictionary. So del, leave credits, Carl. So we're removing him, we're checking the dictionary again, and you'll see Carl is no longer there, his leave credits are no longer there, and the dictionary is back to how it was before. So those were the 2 elements that we're going to cover here in episode 2. I hope you had fun. Again, go through, play with these things. That's why this guide has been put together. It's not to kind of just follow along. It's to touch the code. It's to realize that you can make changes, you can make updates, and you can do things with it with no negative impact. And this kind of familiarity will help you a lot as you start to think dealing with external vendors, dealing with engineers on your team, dealing with colleagues or your own IT teams. Just this little bit of understanding should really help you understand kind of where they are, where they're coming from when they're talking to you, and also how you might be able to help them. So we'll finish off episode 3 here. Please come back and join us for episode 4, where we'll cover how computers make decisions. Conditionals.